Okay, so I'm going to walk you through a brief sidelying neck routine. You can see in this video here that I start at the top at the client's head, and I am positioning my thumb just behind or posterior to the transverse processes in the neck. I'm gliding from the top all the way down to the first rib insertions. Now, even though it looks like I'm being fairly heavy-handed with this is an athlete who is very muscular, and he can tolerate a good amount of pressure very comfortably. But of course, you want to adapt this to the individual. Now, after approximately anywhere from 5 to 10 glides going downward, I would reposition my thumb slightly behind or moving backward, and I would reposition and do another 5 to 10 repetitions going downward in the same fashion. And you could see me really emphasizing the thumb right into the trapezius as well. So after I've done that, I'm going to do a cross fiber manipulation. You can see here that I'm going from the front of the body toward the back. I go one thumb width at a time, giving anywhere from 3 to 5 repetitions crossing those fibers. In particular here I'm hitting the scalenes, being sure to go all the way down into the attachment. Again, I would move backward one thumb width, and I would continue doing that procedure, cross-fibering every section to give those areas appropriate stimulation and get the optimal result from this style of body work. Now, once we've done that, we would switch direction and we would go inferior to superior. So we would be doing our strokes up toward the occiput. You can see here that I'm staying right up next to the transverse processes. And of course, my hand position isn't necessarily optimal for ergonomics, but it does make sense to get out of the way for the camera. So always be sure to adjust your technique so that you are saving your thumbs and you can direct appropriate amount of pressure without putting excessive fatigue through your own musculoskeletal system. As we do those repetitions, again, moving slightly backward or posterior another thumb width, repeating our glides, thumb all the way up into that base there in the suboccipital region. And once we have done that routine, we go back to our cross fiber. In particular, emphasis here on the suboccipitals, anywhere from 3 to 5 repetitions. And here I'm going the force in a front to back, which is anterior to posterior direction. And here we've identified some tender spots as well. We can hold on those, have the client breathe a few times to achieve a release, and we can continue. This area is very common to find trigger points that oftentimes refer to the head and sometimes over the eye, especially if it's related to headaches. We want to make sure that we address those. In this final technique, you could see me doing from the neck down to the shoulder, pulling across those tissues to address the upper trapezius. And I like to hook my middle finger down in between the space between the collarbone and the scapula where they meet so that we can address those tender trapezius points that insert right in that region. So this is very comfortable for the client and a very, very successful routine. After we would have them sit upright and test previous restricted ranges of motion to see what improvements we've got.